In our previous session of the Wildemount campaign, we had returned to Nicodrana, and the characters got to spend some time sorting out their own story arcs. Ben and Beard shanghaied the university's arts chancellor and re-enlisted our house that we were building into a holy parish on the black market as a spice den. Eric asserted himself as a great chef in the more prosperous part of town. Kronk sealed the deal with Lady Uganda. Galin repaired our turtle shell and got it shipshape again. And Babbler didn't do a lot. Probably just read some of that engrossing magazine. With the death race coming up, we needed to do some modifications to our wagon, and it was decided that between sessions we would add 2 mounted crossbows, a deployable smoke screen, distracting strobe near the rear, noisemakers, magnetic harness for the driver and crew, oil slick dispenser, spinning scythe blades from below that attach to the bottom of the shell, and some axes around just for general use. We head into town and register for the race and scope out the competition. We look at the other rides that the other races are using, and they are large and varied. There's a giant mechanical spider, just like from the movie Wild Wild West, a pickup truck that's been fully armoured, racers who plan on running inside large hamster balls, a 4-legged dog-like racer, horse and cart, chariot, a floating wrecking ball, some 9 Hells riders riding motorbikes, and a goblin on a bicycle. Since we've carried out all the work we can to improve our odds of winning, the next obvious thing is to handicap our competition. So we start brainstorming what this could be, between getting them drunk and poisoning them and so forth. The plans are that Eric's going to make some bad chili and it's going to get distributed to the other races. Ben and Beard will do this when they'll track down the tavern which the 9 Hell Riders hang out in. The plan is to try and get them to celebrate and get drunk, and then they'll be hungover for the next day with the races on in the afternoon. We know that there'll be some small events in the morning and stalls, and then the main event, being a death race, will be conducted in the afternoon before dinner. Ben and Beard make their way to the tavern, and while in there, Ben spies a coin purse on an empty table, just sitting there, all alone, with no one to care for it. And there is no way that he can't not take it. Ooh, shiny. Ben sleight of hands it away onto his person, and as he's beginning to walk out of the tavern, he's yanked off his feet by a thin wire that had been attached to the purse. The whole tavern bursts into laughter, and it seems that this is a standard prank that the locals do to catch people. With everyone having a laugh, Ben and Beard shout the tavern drinks and start having a real good night of it, and they pass the bad chili out and make sure all the patrons get some, especially the 9 Hells Riders, because they're such great sports about that prepared coin purse trick. Meanwhile, Eric and Kronk are preparing lots of pasta to be passed out in celebration as they preach of the holy source of the flying spaghetti monster. Have you been touched by his noodly appendage? The DM informs us that we're also up to about 49 devoted followers, and that Kronk, after searching, has found a squire. He is a human druid, and we now share a telepathic bond. And it's a good thing the telepathic bond is between Kronk and the druid, and not between me, as I was thinking, I didn't want a druid. Oh well, you get what you get sometimes. Most of the followers of the Faith have taken up residence in the hotel across the road and have started cleaning up the community. Even locals who don't follow the deity are happy that we're there cleaning it up and bringing some respect back to the streets. When Ben and Beard return from their causing their shenanigans, their crafty minds think up that maybe someone's playing the same game with us. The group is all gathered round to inspect the turtle wagon to make sure shenanigans haven't taken place, and after some intense searching, we find that someone has etched a gravity rune to the bottom of our racer. Working together, Galin, Eric, and Beard get it removed. We also end up with some of the 9 Hells Riders rocking up at our house, having followed Ben and Beard back, thinking the party's going to continue. We give them some liquor and send them on their way, and now, because Beard is warforged and doesn't need to sleep, he can stay up in the workshop and watch the racer all night. Now, prior to the festival, Lady Uganda had asked if there was anything she could do to help Kronk with all that he had on. Kronk told her to join in at the free pasta stall and serve the people. She was a bit taken back by this and didn't want to be front of house, but said she would stop by. Now, on the day, in the morning, Kronk was in the tent, set up and handing out pasta meals, brochures of the flying spaghetti monster he boiled for our sins. When Lady Uganda arrived, there had been quite a lot of work going on, and Kronk was quite busy between talking to people and serving them, and Lady Uganda ended up being put on front of house where she was serving the locals. During this, the Nicodrana's Marquis, Zhafe Uludan, had passed the stall and recognised Lady Uganda. He paused and nodded to her in respect. Kronk gave out pasta to all him and his attendees, but the Marquis never partook in. Eric was caught between the pasta tents and the the medical tent. As the morning moved on, we got into the small games part of the day. It started with a running race on the beach, which Beard had won, followed by a wave riding competition. Kronk managed a handstand on the first heat and pulled off some gnarly manoeuvres on the second heat to win the competition. Ben got dunked so hard on the second heat that Eric, in tiny beavers, had to come running down the beach in slow motion, just like a character from Baywatch, pulling Ben from the surf and giving him the kiss of life. This was seen by so many people and cheered on. It also boosted the amount of followers that we had, up to 91. As the afternoon rolls around, a very fancy tabaxi pirate and with a very fancy hat drops by to the group to tell us to hurry up and not be late for the race. He flicks a coin to Beard. Beard catches, and after some examination realises that the coin is some sort of laser pointer. We head back to the house to check on Galin, who'd been back there working on the shell, and he'd been adding a few last things, such as a caltrop deployer, and now the strobe at the rear actually displays taunting writing in common. Beard has cast invisibility on Ben, and Ben sneaks off and climbs into the giant mechanical spider racer. It's also noted that Baraban the Barbarian Shifter has changed his character to an elf character at this point and is against us in one of the other races. After all the mods done to the wagon, we now can't get it out of the workshop in our house. And in a quick way to solve the problem, we grab one of the guy's axes and just cut out a chunk of the wall to allow the wagon to pass through. We can fix that up later after the death race. So, prepared for the race, we head on down to the starting line, and that is where we'll end this session.